when you change things in the community, there's usually pain, there's usually problems and challenges for certain people. We always also say that there are limitations to the work that we do. We can't decide, you guys are angry that there's no service delivery here now, we want to go here. It doesn't work that way. There's a formula, there's a norm of creating a ward. And a ward therefore can't just be moved because somebody is unhappy with the councillor, unhappy with the municipal manager, or unhappy with the speaker of the municipality. Yes, we are all unhappy with so many things. I'm unhappy that I don't have money, but I can't go and rob a bank right now. So there are those things that are limitations to how we can get fully satisfied with what we have. But we've let down the norm, so we'll give you the 4,000 whatever maximum number of community members that can be in the ward. That is the ease of a councillor to be able to service you, to give you information, to share the things that are discussed in council with you, and all those kinds of stuff. So effectively, we look at, and Gauteng is lucky because we have Moran Fontaine and other places that are close by. Imagine a councillor in the Northern Cape. You have to take a taxi that travels 120 kilometers from to a meeting, and you have to come back with that. So we are here to say we don't think that we are experts in the wards, we know better. We therefore want you to make sure that not everybody is going to be happy with what is in the ward for now. And we are appealing that we find each other as we discuss this, we find each other. We find each other and try to understand, and we try to. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Does it work? Okay, it seems like it's working. You can hear me now. So we don't want you to bicker about whatever. Let's look at the reasoning. Remember, there's committees that are still going to look at these inputs, but we would like you to have an understanding of the inputs that you make per ward, so that people agree to a certain extent. So in a lot of discussions like this, we agree to disagree. We may not completely get 100% what we want, but let's then find a middle ground of what we could take, what we could live with, because that's how the nature of life is. So we welcome you to this session. We're looking forward to a fruitful discussions. We will take the inputs in writing that you are raising here, but we're looking forward to more detailed inputs. Our form doesn't look like you can have all the inputs you want to raise. We would like you to take a page from the old exercise and add all the facts that you want to add into this. If your phone is able to take the pictures, you don't have to go to Postnet to scan and send. Take the pictures in your phone and send them to Esther's email. Esther's email is going to be flashed up here. Okay, we're getting a better screen. We were worried that we won't be able to see the presentation. So we are happy to be here. We are happy to engage with you. We are here to listen. We are here to make sure that everybody has a voice and everybody talks. And I'm sure we're going to run this session with respect for each other's opinions and each other's positions. And even if we disagree, let's disagree respectfully, respecting each other, so that our session will be much more structured and much more pleasant session. So welcome, and we're happy to have you here. I don't know, we need to adjust, we need to adjust it a bit so that it's filling the screen, and I think you need to drop it a bit. Drop it down again. Thank you, you're most welcome. I'm now going to hand over to Hester. She's Hester Murray. She's a GIS specialist, and she deals with all these drawings and all these things. So she'll explain to you the process that brought us here today and how we're going to then engage each other and how we're going to be collecting the information and the inputs that you have. Thank you very much. Over to you, Hester.
Thank you, Chair. Sound money, guys? Julia? Good morning. We are back. We are there to all to learn, and the least we can do is to greet. Thank you, Ms. Murray, for the introduction. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to attend this session. It's one of the sessions that I find is overlooked sometimes, and by the time that the processes are finalized, then suddenly, because we just went through the local elections, we realized that there are certain issues that had to be addressed. So for us, it's very important that we use the time between now and the preparation that the IEC will be doing towards the local elections to ensure that any aspect that can be a challenge or a hindrance or something that could have made an ease towards the local elections and service delivery itself specifically, we have looked at it. As Ms. Gumi has indicated, we may not achieve everything that we may like because we are working within the frameworks of legislative requirements. I'll be taking you just now through those requirements. But we are not going to assume that you have engaged with me, or I'm not going to assume that you know what I'm talking about. I'll rather take the time, make sure that each and everyone that sits in this venue understands the process, where has it started, where are we now, where are we going towards, to make sure that what we can do is achievable. So in terms of the program and the timelines that I'll be talking about, if your question is when did this process start, that will be last year, July. The board decided or resolved that we need education and awareness session with municipalities. So at that stage in July, I visited each and every local municipality. I asked them at that stage to invite to the education and awareness session the ward councillors, the PR councillors, the community development workers. So basically everyone involved in the ward committee set structure that we currently have. For those that are not familiar, we are engaging this process in terms of the Municipal Structures Act. It is different than the Redetermination Act where we changed out the municipal boundaries. We are now looking at the Structures Act. So if you look at what does the Structures Act indicate and where are we moving towards, it's basically towards the local elections. Elections of whom? That will be your ward councillors. So for us to start the process with just making everyone aware that the process was about to start, I engaged and I disseminated the information. That was towards the preparation for a second phase, which was called technical configurations. Now, technical configurations meant that, as Ms. Gumi was saying, we identified wards where, based on registration numbers, there has been either too few voters in a ward, or there might have been where there are too many voters in a ward. And those adjustments we had to look at. And as a first departure, we would sit with the ward councillor that would know his area, know the current ward that he is engaged with, to give us some preliminary inputs. Now, if I say preliminary inputs, it means that in history, it's a process that was done as a despot. It means that demarcation would sit in the office, they'll bring in imagery, and they'll look at where they can make an adjustment. It might not have been the ideal adjustment, therefore we started already engaging on one level closer to the persons being affected. Okay. In that configuration, and I will take you through some more detailed information during my technical presentation, we then compiled what is referred to as draft 1. The draft set one, which is also represented by the maps that you can see on the wall, there are two information sets you have to look at. The first one is the schedule. The schedule will indicate to you your current voting district and voting district names in your ward. Next to that, it will indicate to you the number of registered voters as per the 2024 March elections. That is a legislative requirement. So as much as you may raise the issue to say, Hester, you guys are using the registered voters. But if you come, I'll take you to my area, I will show you there are more people. My response is probably going to be, not all those residents registered for the national and provincial elections. So it's very important when we start working towards the configurations or reconfigurations, or even the calculation of number of wards, that it is directed from specific legislatively, provincial and local national elections. So for us now to have those numbers updated, we will then look at 2029, which will then be the new benchmark for those numbers to be used. In terms of why we are here, I'll focus on that just now. The importance has been indicated. If you communicate with me, hester@demarcation.co.za. It's not a Hester with numbers, it's just my name. You can send that to me. Ms. Ruby spoke about the provincial gazettes. What's very important to understand at this stage is that what you see on the wall, what you see in the drafting, it has no legal stake. It's all preliminary work. Today's session is adding to the preliminary work that has been done. Only in July, there will be a statutory publication of wards in the provincial government. That will give those wards a legislative stamp. What's being gazetted is then final. But if you see the gazette in July, the process is not closed because there's going to be an opportunity for 14 days of objections. So if you find in a gazette that there's still something you would like to have addressed, there's 14 days. However, be careful. 14 days is like this. It's 1 weekend in between. So once we start disseminating that information and we've got further consultation to do, I would suggest even start looking at today's information. Start consultation in that preparation of further submissions. This slide has also been addressed. The demarcation board need to hand over to the IEC by October this year for preparation of the local elections. I will technically indicate to you when things are still to be done by the IEC, because if you look at the Act, it says that demarcation board in consultation with the IEC. So our process starts by configuring the ward. We hand it over to the IEC. The IEC will then do the preparation in terms of the adjustment of the voting districts where needed, and they will also relook at the voting stations that are going to be used for the 2026 / up to February 27 local elections. Remember, legislation also allows 90 days that the local election needs to happen from the previous local election. So since the previous one happened in November, it means that it can actually be any date between November 2026 and February 2027. Those decisions will be made and announced by the IEC themselves. Just for those that may have wondering about it. Okay. Technical information. Before I start with my technical information, I would like to provide an opportunity for clarification on timelines or processes that's followed up to now before we continue. Because going forward, it's going to really go into technical information. Check. Some questions that you can take from the audience. Or confirmation if you want us to continue, it's also fine.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Good day, everyone. Wasn't quite was. Good morning. My name is Lerato Mapele. I come from the MKP party in West End region. Mine is just a clarity-seeking question. Basically, my question is inspired by something that I actually observed outside. We are made to sign 2 registers. So I asked the gentleman outside what was the purpose for the 2 registers. And he says one is for the MDB, the other one is for the council. So my worry is that there's actually a parallel process of public participation. One relates to exactly this, the delineation of the municipal boundaries within Red West municipality. And the other one is about the introduction of the bill in Parliament. That bill is called the Independent Municipal Demarcations Authority Bill. Now my worry is this. Are we certain that those registers are really meant for this process exclusively? Or we are going to have a question whereby, or an instance whereby we have misrepresentation with those registers being used to give an impression that it was for the public participation process for the introduction of the bill, which is the Independent Municipal Demarcations Bill. Now, what that bill seeks to do is to accept the powers of the state. Accept powers of the state where we'll be having unelected bureaucrats taking over power from the state. Now I'm saying this because the board, the Municipal Demarcations Board, their term will not come to an end when that bill gets introduced or when it gets passed. It will persist their term of office. And when it persists, it will persist for 5 years. And in that process, this process of demarcation, when these wards or the borders have been established, they will persist, excuse me, they will persist for the next 10 years. So the IDP process, for example, will only be interrogated after 10 years. And I don't understand how this demarcation of the wards assists us in curbing or in promoting the service delivery. We've seen that Rand Fontaine municipality was merged with West Rand. The Western area municipality. They were merged. Yes, so it's Red West now. They've been merged to Red West. And I don't see how the merge of the 2 municipalities help the community with service delivery.
Come on.
So the issue here, comrades, is that this bill has got far-reaching implications, whereby it will be disenfranchising you, the electorate. You won't have control on who determines the borders of the municipalities. It will be strictly those unelected officials that will be protected.
This process basically start and finish at some point. We are not here for the bill. The process for the bill is elsewhere.